Good afternoon, good evening. I'm Alejandro Martinez.
I'm Dante Menendez.
And I'm Eleazar Lopez Contreras.
And unfortunately, our fourth partner, Tomas Lopez, couldn't make it in person with us today. He'll be joining us from home on a call.
Okay, so I think it's about time that we just dive right into this topic. So today we're going to be talking about euthanasia and how the Catholic Church thinks about it and different cases of what has happened throughout our world and the history of euthanasia, basically. So not too long ago, around maybe 2017, 2018, there was this young Dutch girl named Noah Pothuizen.
In the Netherlands, right?
Yes, from the
I heard about that
Netherlands.
case. Yeah.
Yeah, she was very young. It was a very tragic story what happened to her. So basically what happened is that she became euthanized and got euthanized by a medical doctor in the Netherlands, which at the time you were not allowed to do unless the patient was extremely suffering, which she was, but not in the ways that the Netherlands have it acceptable for euthanasia.
What were the circumstances of the case?
The circumstances for the case was that she, as a child, was sexually abused. So what happened is that she went through a very sad and depressive episode throughout her life that made her not want to keep living. It made it very hard for her to want to keep going, keep that motivation within herself, and just want all those things in life.
Did she expressly state that she wanted to be euthanized?
Yes, when she came to the doctor. But the reason she went to the doctor was because of this depressive episode, it caused her to stop eating. And so she became anorexic. And when you become anorexic, you get very skinny and your quality of life starts to diminish very slowly unless you get the expert help of a medical doctor, which is why she decided to go and visit the hospital.
Right.
However, instead of wanting to get the help that she needed the correct way, what happened is that she went and specifically asked to be euthanized.
Well, what did the doctor first say? I know that you said that she ended up getting euthanized at the end, but originally, what was the verdict that the doctor gave her?
So at the end of the day, I'm sure the doctor what was going through his head was that you're a very young girl, you still have lots of life to live, and we can help you through this. But the thing is, at the end of the day, the doctor just wanted to do what would make her happy. And so, completely not obliged by any of the laws of the Netherlands, he decided to listen to the girl, who obviously does not know better because she's very young, and euthanized her. And because of this, the doctor was actually arrested and was put on trial because of that, because they didn't believe that what he did was right.
Yeah, I was going to say that verdict that the doctor gave her, that decision, kind of goes against what the church teaches, which is, and I quote, euthanasia is a violation of the divine law, an offense against the dignity of the human person, a crime against life, and an attack against humanity.
Exactly. It's when it comes to the church, when it comes to morality, when it comes to just living life, it all comes down to different perspectives about what people say euthanasia is like, and if they think it's right or wrong. And that's why we're going to now go into talking about what the Catholic perspective is about this.
So yeah, as I was saying, the church's official statement, on euthanasia is that they do denounce it. However, they do concede that under circumstances where a person is under undergoing extreme hardship and they're going through a lot of pain, they should be allowed to receive help in that matter, if you could call it help, and get euthanized. So I think that specifically for this case, I don't think that applies. She was obviously going through some stuff mentally, especially with her eating disorders and with the psychological trauma of being abused. But I don't think that meets the physical requirements that the church asks for when talking about whether or not a person should be able to receive help and help when getting euthanized.
Then, what do you think are the best requirements, or what is morally understandable for this?
I mean, personally, I don't think that euthanasia should be allowed under any circumstances, but according to the church, it says that people are allowed to refuse extraordinary treatment, which basically means that they are, like, for example, if they need a respirator to stay alive, or whether they are on life support, they should be allowed to refuse that and be allowed to pass away naturally rather than stay alive artificially.
This Noah Popovin case really reminds me of another really famous case from a while back. Do you guys remember the Terry Schiavo case? 2005?
Yes, I do remember that. That was a very sad case.
Very tragic case that happened. So, as you were saying about church teaching is divided into two separate treatments, okay? There's ordinary treatment and then there's extraordinary treatment, okay? Ordinary treatment or obligatory treatment, such as food and water that preserves human life and sustains the quality of life. However, since our destiny and our ultimate goal in life, in this life at least, is to be with God, we are not required to try and undergo every possible treatment to sustain or extend this life. So the this Noah Popovin case really running this Terry Schiavo case in that regard.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I can really see that. Honestly, Terry Schiavo is such a sad story. It's like kind of thing to tell. Like, it was worth taking it on and off of life support. It's so sad.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's a good thing that the church has taken an official position, but I think that they should really start to specify what the requirements for extraordinary treatment a little better.
Obligatory treatment.
Definitely.
I feel that in that regard, the church should send out a more concise and clear official statement in this regard.
Yeah, so they're just being kind of like implied, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna send it off to our out-of-state correspondent, Tomas Lopez.
Yeah, hey guys, it's good to. Sorry I couldn't be there. You know, I've been out deployed in the wars, and you know, as I've been out here working and fighting, it's given me a lot of time to think about morality and the concepts of it, especially the separation of the state and the church. You know, we're talking about euthanasia here, and Florida, for example, has one of the largest elderly populations, and with that all in mind, you know, you would think that Florida would be, you know, pro-euthanasia, having such a large elderly population who might take up a lot of space, time, and money. Yeah. The classic church, the Catholic Church, like Florida, is also very anti-euthanasia, as I'm sure you guys have already spoken about. But, you know, those concepts, they also apply to the federal government. But the issue there is the federal government seems more interested in dealings of economic loss than they do of loss of life. The morality between the loss of church and state is something that is greatly differs the higher you get up on a governmental level. For example, as I previously stated, the federal government cares much less of the morality of a loss due to euthanasia than the churches do. The churches care more about their people, and so do the states. With Florida being entirely anti-euthanasia, the federal government on the higher levels is more caring of the economic loss. So what I'm interested in is I'm sure you guys covered it, is you know, the church's position on euthanasia is one extremely against it, you know, and the states stand there too. But why shouldn't the federal government be as concerned with the morality loss of it than they should be with the economic loss? Thank you. You know, as previously stated, with the whole fact of the federal government caring more about the economic loss and the moral loss, you know, I think what it could really be brought down to is a concept of just saving money. The whole idea of people who are anti-euthanasia are people who care more about the spreading of fear to the people and not letting them understand that we're in a time of innovation. We're in a time of masterful technologies that can help move and forward the life. The Catholic Bishops Association, they agree. They say that euthanasia is something that should frankly never have even been invented, with the fact that in our times of innovation and technology, we have these life-saving abilities. We have these medicines, these antibiotics, these machines that can help bring people back from the brink. And irregardless of that, even if someone is in a vegetative state, they are still a human being. And that is the most important thing that I think everyone should take home from this. They are still a human being. They still may have their thoughts, their brains. They are still a child of God who should be respected and cared for regardless of their condition. Thank you.